No, that was 2 minutes ago.
Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Jade Alberts from Calgary, Alberta. I'm a small business strategist, influencer, and brand builder. My passion is helping small businesses grow and succeed, and sharing knowledge and stories is why I started the Facebook Live show. It is a live show, so if you do have any questions, please ask them. If you're watching this after the fact on LinkedIn or another social media platform, feel free to reach out. We will answer your questions. I'd like to thank Healthy Heart Sleep Company, Calgary's premier sleep apnea CPAP company, for sponsoring this discussion. They have 2 Calgary locations. They are locally owned and operated, so support local. Today's Telling It Like It Is guest is Stephen Bruce Wong and Brad Henry, both the founders of Automation Expert. Guys, thanks for joining me, and how are you today?
No, we're doing good.
Great. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, and this is my first dual conversation. So I got both of you in the photo, so I'm pumped about that.
Yeah, we managed to fit our 2 big heads in the window there.
Sometimes I have a hard time fitting mine in one. I always like to kind of bring up how we met, and you guys are the first ones that I'm having on the show that we met at Founders Coffee. So I'm pretty proud of that. It's something that we started, and we meet every Tuesday morning at Red's Diner in Kensington, and it's just for like-minded entrepreneurs to come out and network. So this is great for a little plug for Founders Coffee.
We forgot about the pancakes.
Oh yeah, I can't believe you eat all those pancakes. I mean, holy smokes! Like, I don't.
Tuesday cappuccino.
Exactly.
It's really great, Jade. There's a really good group of people there, and we don't have to go to that networking event thinking that we're going to get pitched or anything. Really, really good group of people for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I agree, and you guys are part of that good group of people, and we appreciate you still coming out. So that's awesome. So I'll give a brief introduction here. Stephen and Brad, they run Automation Experts. Their goal is to help major business challenges, in our time by automating physically taxing, dangerous, and mundane tasks. They do this by tailoring existing technologies, be it machines, motion control, robotics, and tooling to solve specific problems in your industry. Useful machines will help give our business a competitive edge, keep employees safe and free from unpleasant work, and help people become more human. Now, when I met you guys, I'm fascinated by automation. I've got zero mechanical skills, and I always have to hire the guy. But I love innovation. But how and why did you guys start Automation Experts?
Well, firstly, how we got into engineering. Me personally, I grew up loving Transformers, so you can say I got into mechanical engineering to build robots. And then after graduating and I did what every other engineer does. I got a job in oil, and nothing against oil or anything like that, but that just wasn't my interest. So I left and I began acquiring skills in machine design and motion control. So the first thing I learned was how to build CNC machines, design and build, and then we started learning about motion control and how to code, and then we picked up some clients along the way to automate some of their tasks, and then now we're here. But
yeah, and I grew up, loved my Legos growing up, and end of high school I was building my own RC planes, designing them from scratch and everything. So yeah, had that mechanical aptitude. Decided to go into engineering to just continue to learn. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
And then while I was in there, I did some time in, shouldn't say did some time in.
You did some time in.
You might take that the wrong way.
I didn't know about that.
I was in university, got involved in a few different things. Ended up working with a professor where he had me build a casing, and then he said, "Well, now is the easy part. You just shove some wires in it and shove it down whole." And so obviously it wasn't that simple, so I had to learn a lot of electronics, and I learned how to make things move and wire things up and get things going. A lot of stuff they don't teach in school, but is pretty valuable. And then from there, I was able to. There I met Stephen, and we just found that our talents are very talents and interests are very good. Like we do better together than we do apart, and we just kept moving on from there. And
Complementary is the word.
Yeah, complementary.
Well, that's no doubt. And I always am fascinated by, how things from our childhood, whether it be Lego or Transformers or something along those lines, really set us in motion for, how our career might run. I mean, it's just something along those. And it always amazes me when I hear stories like that. So that is pretty cool. So I guess a lot of people have, such a negative, a view of, machines going to replace all these jobs. I had Rochelle Matthews on about a month or so ago, and she says by 2021 there'll be 218,000 coding shortage jobs in Canada, and currently right now there's 2,200 in Calgary. So I know machines, will replace a few jobs, but I mean they also create jobs. So can you guys share some of your knowledge on that?
Sure. You want to talk about the
elevator? Yeah. So I guess how they create jobs is a good example of this, about how automation machines affect us, is that you can go and you can look at the story of the only job that was ever, one of the few jobs that was ever completely automated, and that was the reason the job was made obsolete, was through automation. That's the elevator operator. And back in the early 1900s, people were afraid to step into these metal coffins called elevators. Like it was like flying on an airplane. It was people were just scared of it. We aren't now, but that was what it was like back then. So they had people manually controlling it because people felt better if there's a human involved. And over time, the public got more comfortable with automatic elevators, and these guys were phased out. But important things to note is that it took 20 years to do so, and so there was a lot of attrition. So there weren't many new job openings, but the people already in the profession, they were sort of phased out, and the ones that and when they were phased out, they often went and performed other jobs, other related things. Like the elevator operator would, they'd have a person in there for about 30 seconds where they can't escape. So every salesman's dream. And they would, if they worked in a department store, they would try pre-selling different deals and stuff to the people in the elevator. So some of them would go and work in those stores. Some of them ended up becoming receptionists or security because they did part of those jobs, and they did part of the jobs before. And then as the occupation was eliminated, there was extra strain put on those positions. So there was opportunity to move to a different area.
Yeah, I think the important thing to remember too with automation is that automation takes over the mundane, a lot of the unpleasant work tasks that people don't want to do. And as such, it starts to allow people to do more of what people excel at, and machines do more of what machines excel at. So what the result of that is, a multitude of job opportunities that you may never even have thought of. For example, with banking, many years ago, the tellers used to just do transactional, right, before ATMs and all that kind of stuff. And now we still have banks, we still have branches everywhere, but the ultimate function of those is they do a lot more, mortgage approvals and things like that, right? So that probably is not something you could predict. So the one thing I do want to share research-wise is the 2017 McKinsey Global Institute study, which says that 95% of jobs can't be fully automated. Only 5% of jobs can be completely automated. But on average, about 50% of work tasks today 50% of work tasks today can be automated using currently demonstrated technology. So if the jobs can't be mostly automated out, but automation will make a big impact, what does that exactly mean, right?
Yeah.
So what that means is that rather than there will be a lot of new sort of tasks that crop up, but ultimately what it means is that job descriptions will just have to change, because we'll be more involved intimately, if you know what I'm saying, with the automation technology and using those tools to get work done and to be more productive. So it's not so much that, a lot of jobs will go away. It's more that, we're going to have to work closer with technology and learn those skills in order to succeed.
Well, and that makes a lot of sense. So I guess maybe, my next question would be, to automate, how will it affect the next generation or young people of today? Or would you have any advice for them moving forward?
Well, there's a lot of things that you can't really predict. I remember reading an article where it talked about how we can't predict the future, and this was in the early 1800s. Steam was big, and people were drawing these mechanical horses to pull carriages because they just couldn't comprehend anything other than a horse doing any work. Like they were limited by their time period. And of course, using a horse now is kind of absurd, but we've moved on. And so the point is, there's a lot of things that we're limited by our current understanding, and the future is wide open. It is a little scary, but we're very fortunate to live in an age where we do have a lot of, at least in Canada, have a lot of social benefits. We have a safety net. There's only so far that we can drop. We have a lot of business support. Businesses are supporting it. And there's a lot of class mobility, especially when you consider through history when people have had, problems with, when people most had the problems with automation and poverty and class divisions and stuff, was when you could go down the street and buy a black person as a slave. And so the future is bright, and we don't need to be very concerned. I don't believe.
I only have really one piece of advice, and it's that you don't have to be crazy like us and study automation, but I would spend at least a little time understanding, what Silicon Valley is working on, what people are working on right now in terms of automation. Yeah. And then knowing that, don't focus on skills. First of all, focus on skills, learning skills, not jobs. Skills are more important. And then focus on skills that can't be automated, right? So, for example, things like, driving long haul trucks on a really long route, that's not a skill that's going to be around, that's going to be, needs people to do for very long, right? So truck drivers, cashiers, call center workers, like certain skills in those occupations, we already know that they're working on solutions to automate those, right? So just have an awareness, and then don't be in those fields.
And don't be scared either. It's not like the world's going to end. You're most likely won't end up impoverished type of thing. It's not a, at least in my mind, there's plenty of other things to be worried about.
Oh, well, there's no need. We don't need, that's a whole new conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, there's many industries that can use the product you guys create. I mean, can you walk us through the process of automating something for a client?
Sure. So the first step in that process is just to introduce the automation technology. A lot of people are not familiar with what it can do, and then also help them brainstorm all the different tasks in their business that could potentially be automated. So we start asking questions to them to jog their memory. So it could be something like, what's something that contributes directly to your bottom line that you do a lot of, but you have a lot of safety incidents, or you have, this process could go a lot faster and be a lot more productive if human fatigue wasn't a factor. or what's something that your employees are doing that's really boring and they don't like doing, and then where could their time be better spent, right? So we start asking questions like that, and we have a whole process called targeted automation to take people through to go through that brainstorm session. And then from there, we kind of funnel it down using filters. And that's another set of questions that starts to narrow down those tasks. For example, does it contribute directly to your bottom line? No? Okay, well, these tasks we don't need to look at right now. We want to look at the tasks that can be automated, that will give you the best bang for your buck, if you will. So then after that, we survey. Step 3 would be we survey all of the existing technologies. We all already have a pretty good idea of what's out there, but it does take a little bit more research and detail to figure out what's out there. And we try to find the fastest path so that we're not reinventing the wheel. We're not trying to do research and create something new. We're just tweaking something that exists out there and developing a solution for the person's business. And then those are really the steps, and the rest of it is all just engineering and design work, which is maybe a little bit too boring to talk about on the show. But
yeah. Should add a caveat to that we focus on machines and physical things that you can touch. We're not very software oriented. That's a whole other ball game. There are plenty of intelligent people who are doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, for sure. And I mean, for anybody that is watching, you can just go to the comment section, click on Automation Experts, they'll take you directly to their website. I know you guys will be having a new YouTube video, so you'll probably be able to see it there as well. So that's you'll be able to find out some more information. So I guess what's next for you guys?
Well, I'm off to China soon to go take a look at our 4-axis CNC mill, which we're going to bring in and start using to do robot parts and prototypes. So we like being able to work directly with the stuff we're designing. And so, the designers are also the fabricators, if you will. And I like to think that makes better designers. And then, we're just going to continue building machines and keep speaking. We were just at Pint of Science last night, so thanks to them for having us.
That was a lot of fun.
Just keep spreading the message about automation and the facts, really, about what we need to be really concerned about in terms of how work will change, and what we need to do to be successful, because it is an inevitable movement.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely keep doing what we're doing. Keep looking for ideas. Keep looking for ideas of machines to build and tasks to automate. We're starting to look more into construction. Figure there's a lot of opportunity in that area, as well as a lot of really smart people that we've met. We've got a lot of great ideas. So we'll focus there for a bit. But anytime we get to work on something and talk to interesting people about interesting stuff is a great day.
Oh, no doubt. And especially when you're out there sharing your knowledge, speaking to somebody. And I know, as we mentioned before, I think the fear of the unknown and the, somebody saying that machines are going to take all their jobs is spread rampant throughout there, when most of us know that that's not going to be the case. And having that stat that you shared, the 95% of jobs can't be replaced, is an amazing stat that, until you guys mentioned that, I didn't know. So that was something very interesting. So I guess I always end up on the same question, for the simple fact that, again, I'm all about sharing knowledge. So if you had one piece of advice for a small business, a startup, what would that be?
Well, I think let's go, reach out, talk to as many people as you can, and because it's very difficult when you're trying to build something in a void, it generally doesn't work. So go and talk with people. Founders Coffee is a great way to go and meet people with different ideas. I've learned a lot from that. There's other events around the city, like Calgary. I think the rest of the country is very blessed in that regard. We've got a lot of great events for a lot of great people to go to, and just reach out and talk.
And for me, it's I'm really big into martial arts. I don't know if I've told you that yet, Jade.
Yeah.
But one of the things we teach there is that you make something a life study, and one of the most important things to getting us to where we are now is to spend time to learn and study sales and marketing. I say that painfully as an engineer, like, oh, we don't need that. We'll just like stay in our hole and code and build machines, right? But no, it's nobody would ever. It doesn't matter how good of a surgeon or I probably shouldn't use that because they're they're kind of a monopoly in Canada. But it doesn't matter how good of an engineer you are or a designer. Nobody would know about you. It doesn't matter unless you can and sell it and market it. So that was super important for me.
No, and I've seen you guys come out and I've been lucky enough to introduce you to a few people, and now you're getting speaking events, and I think that's great because getting out there, spreading your story is the best way to sell yourself. You always have to be in control of your own narrative rather than having someone else tell your story. So that's so important, and it is definitely, and sales isn't easy. There's some people that are very good at it, but it is hard sometimes to go out there and start talking to somebody. So it's networking and is an important part of growing businesses.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt. Well, I appreciate that. Steve and Brad, thank you so much for coming on today. I'm so happy you're able to be here. They share your story, and then hopefully one day I become a client because I'd like you guys to build something for me.
Yeah, we'll keep talking about some of the stuff we've been talking about.
Yeah, some great ideas have been thrown around at Founders Coffee.
I know our discussion yesterday was quite interesting, so I'm looking forward to seeing that in action too. So there'll be a lot of different things that we'll sharing and talking about. So again, we just kind of had a question here. You know what? Let's just put here. Ryan Hutchinson asked a question here. How do you determine the impact of your automation applications?
Great question. So one of the great benefits about automation is that the ROI is very calculatable. So is that how you say that word? Anyway,
return on investment.
You calculate it, you can track it easily, right? So for example, let's say that you wanted to paint lines on pavement, right? So you would already know sort of what the costs were involved in that, right? And then from there, you can determine what a reasonable budget would be to develop a solution to either replace or to get an 80% or 50% reduction in labor involved in that task. And then you can also figure out what those guys can also do as add value, right? So then knowing what that labor amount is or what the cost of that is, then you can sort of determine what a reasonable payback period is. And then you can calculate all those things. And the machines are easy. So if you're producing bolts or you're counting something or whatever, the machine can keep track of all that. So it's very easy to keep track of what you're saving and then attributing that to, what that would normally cost for a person to do it. And then of course, the part that isn't as easy to calculate is, that add value factor. So when the machine is doing X now, what is the person going to be doing? Are they just going to be producing more of that product, or can they be used to create some other add value service or product for your customer that maybe you've been dreaming about delivering to them that's higher margin, but you just haven't gotten around to yet? So that's a little harder to calculate, but in terms of like labor replacement, savings in insurance, things like that, those are very easily things to quantify.
Perfect.
Yeah, and if that wasn't a satisfactory answer, Ryan, reach out to us. If you're in Calgary, we love to go and eat donuts and drink coffee. And
there's no doubt. And again, you can just click on their website in the comment section, and it'll take you right to their website, and you'll be able to contact them from there. Again, so thanks, guys. I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. And Stephen, have a safe trip to China, and we'll see you when you get back.
Thanks. Thank you. We'll see you.
All right. We'll talk soon. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.